I can answer you.
Hi, Mohamed. Mathieu from GVA. I have a question for you. So you operate the largest exchange point in Nigeria and in West Africa. And when I look at the eyeball network, so the subscriber network connected to IXPN, and if I look at the largest network, you have Starlink, which is the one that has biggest capacity, and so on. And then comes which is a local operator in Nigeria. And then it's PA, which doesn't operate in Nigeria, or VTS that doesn't operate in Nigeria. We don't see the other big network in Nigeria. We don't see the MTN, Airtel, Mobile, and other big operator. Why do you have some net?
So we can go after the other.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he's right. What he's saying is that 40% of the traffic of Nigeria's traffic comes through one operator, MTN, then followed by Airtel, followed by Glo, and then Nine Mobile. But they don't, you don't see that big scale of traffic that they're supposed to have, because since they are carrying huge traffic out of Nigeria, you should be able to see the traffic at the exchange point. You're absolutely right. And therefore, you don't see that much traffic because, one, because of their skill. When they are in Nigeria, they usually run private peering. For example, all the smaller operators, when they connect, they get access to Google, to Facebook, to the rest. But for MTN, they don't do that. What they will do is they directly connect with Google, directly connect with all the other major, and therefore the traffic will go directly to those. And then it's only part of that traffic that they pass through the internet exchange point. Another thing is some of the operators intentionally do not advertise the IP addresses that they have, the entire IP addresses to IXPN. I don't want to start mentioning names because they are our customers. They are telecommunication companies. When you go to the internet, you will see the IP addresses that they advertise. When you come to the local, you see that those IP addresses, maybe they are advertising only 30% of what they are showing to the rest of the world, because they don't really care on the local market. And that's the truth of the matter. We tried as much as possible to see how they can scale up. We know they have the potentials to domesticate traffic, but some of them is intentional. Some of them have, in partnership with submarine cable operators, they have their own landing stations. They already have someone, you are trying to say someone should save traffic by connecting to the exchange point. Meanwhile, that same someone has a pipe that is going to the internet that is only being used 50%. So there is no incentive really for them, apart from dropping the latency, for them to connect locally. I hope I'm making sense, and that's why you don't see those big operators with large capacity at the exchange point. Yes.
Okay, Mohamed. I would like to make a contribution. I will do it in French so that the translator will have some work to do. Are you going to put on your... Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Que l'interprète puisse travailler un peu. Très bien. So I was just trying to say I would make my contribution so the translator can do a little work. So I would like to ask about the number. Is it? So I would like to ask about the autonomous number system. So what you said is very important. You said you need to, so liberating the domain is really important in order for them to announce the different number on the internet. But what we see for our company, it's really hard to have more than 200 telecommunication, which is not important. liberalize that network, that market is really hard. So you then have the education, the training our engineers receive at school, the type of internet they study at school. If you go to South Africa, most of companies born in South Africa just come with
So, you see? Viens prendre ces adresses IP, son numéro de système.
We have the iOS APNs and autonomous system, but unfortunately, in other countries, what we have seen is that Tecto and other huge companies using public addresses and autonomous system numbers. I think there we have to also do a great work in order for us to have a great number of system numbers in Africa. We have to change the training that our engineers have, just to say that it is with the IP address and also autonomous system IPs, and also to connect. And so if that permits, so by so do we have more networks connected to internet, and also more options of seeing a lot of organizations connected to the different point of connections, but also to exchange their orientations, considering what we have right now. So this is the contribution, the input I would like to add. Thank you, Brice.
Before I go forward. D'accord. On a parlé de l'infrastructure.
So we spoke of infrastructure, we talked of levels, we talked about capacities, and someone else would like to contribute or to make an input.
About the training. You do trainings very often. And the people who come to these trainings go home and they don't do what they learned, or do they do them? That's one part of the question. And the other part is, we are here in the West African Regional Forum. Okay, good you are here. Where are the training opportunities? By the way, the gentleman who's just spoke is from Afrinic. That's our regional number person. Maybe, Brice, I will come back to you before Mohammed comes up. What are our opportunities for training? And I have children who are in school. If the school didn't teach them, where will they learn? That's my question. How do we increase on our capacity? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nena. I will respond in English or French. All right. So we do have a department that is in charge of developing capacity at Afrinic, and we have a website that is learn.afrinic.net, where you can connect and at your own pace take the courses there. And even if you want to get certified in the IPv6, you can do so. And we also have the possibility, if you want to a particular workshop, you can email us and we'll see how to make it happen. If you have a group of people, student or professional, and you want a particular workshop, you can talk to us, and we are going to see how to make it happen. And it's free for our members, and most of the time it's free for the community.
Yes, in fact, I'll attest to that. We have collaborated with Afrinic almost every single year to organize trainings on how to acquire autonomous system numbers and IP addresses, because some of the new community networks do not know how to go about getting the resources. So we usually collaborate with Afrinic to guide them on step by step on how to get on autonomous system number. And then we also do the training for them on how to do peering and learn about BGP. For online trainings, everyone is invited. And yes, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. So now, if I speak French here, I think the French people will persecute me.
French dog after.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to add that another thing, just a contribution. I also observed that one of the missing links is the relationship between business owners and technical people. we always have this PRO forum where we have very smart technical people, different training where technical people come to learn. But I had a lot of conversations with young engineers who says, look, I learned this stuff, but it's just in my head. I can't actually translate this into my production environment, into my network, because my CEO looks at me and says, okay, would that help me make more revenue? Am I going to make more money? Or will I get more customers out of it? If I'm making money already, I'm not sure anything is wrong. I'm fine the way I am. So if I can do a default route 0.0.0 into an upstream and my internet goes and comes back, who cares if I connect to a local exchange point? Who cares if I work with that guy? Who cares if I get an ASN? Who cares if I make sure that my security, nobody cares. I make money, I move on. That's the essence of business at the end of the day. So I think we have to get to a point where somehow we have a bridge between technical and business, so that this land is actually translated to the ears of the business owners. I have a CEO in the past who boasted to me that his transit pipe is tripling, and I told him it's not something to bring. Because in a local internet exchange point where you can actually pick a local traffic, then your transit provider is supposed to help you connect you to the world, not necessarily continue to collect money from you because your pipe is overgrowing. So sorry to the transit providers here. But it's the reality. If I can pick a content next to me, why do I want to go to London to pick that same traffic? Therefore, clocking up my transit pipe where I can use that same pipe to do something else. So it talks about knowledge gap and translating that knowledge again to business. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Obina. So what we do at IXP, and because we identify that as a challenge, right? So every single time we do an event, every year we do like 3-4 events in different locations. On the 10th of next month, we are going to be in Port Harcourt. What we usually do is to bring those small internet service providers for a half-day session, not technical training, for the administrative people, for the CEOs to say, well, you are here, you run an organization. It's important you acquire your IP resource because, as you rightly said, they will just get the internet link from their private service provider and just sell internet. They don't see the need for them to have an autonomous system number. So we usually give the business justification of why they need to have an autonomous system number because they can be multi-homed. They don't have to rely on one single internet service provider. We give them all the advantages and the reasons why they need to do it because of scalability and all that. So we are really doing that, and that's why we encourage some of those operators to acquire the autonomous system numbers. The current challenge we have now that we have somebody from Afrinic is that some of them are seeing the price is high for the resource from Afrinic. I think Afrinic needs to find a way that for smaller networks that maybe are acquiring only Class C IP addresses, only one, subnet, and you can give them at maybe lower price so that it will encourage them to come on board, because $2,000, that's the minimum, right? $2,000 per annum for IP resources. $2,000 now in Nigeria is 3 million naira. For a small service provider, they will tell you, Mohammed, why do you want to pay annually 3 million naira? And in reality, is not going to, I don't see the immediate results of my businesses for that. And therefore, that's why we are trying to even see how we can work with Afrinic to ensure that that resource is a bit cheaper. I believe Afrinic is a bit higher than even other regional internet exchange points. So if you acquire the resource from Africa, it's much more expensive than if you're acquiring it from Europe or from America. But the reality is those ones have huge numbers. Because they have huge numbers, even if they charge small, they should be able to run their business. But in Africa, they have small, and therefore they need to get that money from the small for them to run the organization. But at the same time, that price is now stopping entrants coming into the market. So there has to be kind of way to balance, to encourage small service providers while still trying to survive as Afrinic. So, thank you. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. If the community wants Afrinic to change the price, what the community has to do is very simple. The board of directors are the one working in the finance committee. They're the one that, tells what's the price that we are going to pay, So if you put the right people at the board of director and they see that the community want the price to drop, I think that they will do the needful. So as staff, there's nothing we can do. It's you, the community, can change it. I hope it's clear.
Did you hear what he said? That here we should collectively decide and put it in writing that we want a reduction from them, and then we'll put the letter through where it should go. Is that correct? Merci beaucoup. Mohammed,
Thank you so much.
thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your input.